which I call Bill Houston 2020. That would be for infrastructure, parks, neighborhoods to standards, town centers, transit-oriented development, and brownfields development. We've got a huge opportunities for brownfields development. We need to expand the city's toolbox for economic growth, and I'm a supporter of tax increment reinvestment zones like Uptown Houston and Midtown and in other parts of the city. We need to establish a redevelopment authority and a parking authority like every other grown-up city. We need alternative street standards that appeal to developers. We're stuck with one, essentially, aside from collectors and arterials, one street type. And we need to give special districts the option to adopt master plans and their own standards. And finally, we need a sustainable growth agenda that has to do with, and we're into that right now in the city of Houston, recycling, parks and open space, bioswale detention areas, urban gardens and farms. We need tougher nuisance ordinances, and that's the way we're going to deal with air pollution, a very serious problem in the city, and green building standards. So to close, let me just say this. Houston can become a model for sustainable growth. In a practical sense, the city cannot manage growth on a case-by-case basis. That's what we're doing now, or in some cases by citizen protests. Nor can we afford a one-size-fits-all infrastructure approach. We need to know ahead of time, I think Bob Lanier said this, where the pipes go and what size they should be. Working together, guided by a shared vision and an outcomes-driven plan, we can have a prosperous, livable city of safe, stable neighborhoods, new and old, a majestic, booming downtown, which needs work, by the way, walkable town centers and mixed-use rail corridors with plenty of parks and green space, all linked by high-capacity transit. This is, my friends, the competitive, sustainable, global city of the 21st century. And we got to get in there, folks, and compete. We face the future, we need to do more than just hope for the best. We need to share a vision, plan for the best, and together work very hard to make it happen. And I feel it's not an either-or situation. We can be pro-planning and pro-business, pro-environment and pro-growth, pro-neighborhood and pro-development. So I say and ask you all, if you want to move to Houston, join this. Together we can plan and build a better Houston. Thank you. 2 minutes left. They're good. Well, no, I just wanted to say that I wanted to talk about consumer choice. There is a lot of consumer choice out in the suburbs, and you know, again, I'm making this distinction. I want the city of Houston to be really successful, and to compete successfully with the suburbs. But if we're going to do that, it's not happening now. I can tell you statistically, it's not happening. And in terms of our quality of life, it's not happening. And we need to have consumer choice in the city of Houston. There's only two choices you've got now in the city if you want to buy a house in the city. You can buy an expensive home that's, you know, $220,000 on up, or if you've got $1 million, you can find a lot of those. That's one choice. The other choice is a low-income house. We have unfortunately, because of we have lost our middle class to the suburbs, and we have to have the kind of neighborhood improvement strategies, and I don't see how you can do this without having a plan. Every business organization has a plan because it tells you where you want to get and what you have to do to get there. We've got to encourage mixed income neighborhoods with a lot of housing choices in the city of Houston, which we don't have, folks. I talked to one of my council member friends. I said, where do we have a house where you know that's not substandard that you can buy for between $140,000 and $180,000? There are only two neighborhoods in the city where we decided you could buy that house. My friends, we need to give people choice. That's what the American consumer society is about. And I think the city has a role to play in making that happen. And I'll just end with this. You got a problem, you solve it. We got problems. You got an opportunity, you jump on it. We got a lot of opportunities in this city, and we need to jump on them. Thank you.
there's a lot to respond to there, but quickly the comment on the suburbs. The suburbs do well around Houston, not because of their relatively high regulation, but because of standard push factors that have occurred across this country. As we've gotten wealthier and as transportation costs have dropped, we have had a tendency to spread out. Also, a lot of times folks are going out to the suburbs because of lower crime, better schools, initially lower taxes, and some other competitive things. So Bob Lanier helped us in Houston by coming up with a developer participation contract system to kind of offset some of those things. And it has brought some development back into the city. And those are the kinds of tools, especially when they're non-discriminatory and they don't seek to meddle in the market. We wouldn't want anybody holding one of those up because, for example, gosh, you know, I don't like this because we need front porches on the houses. Once you bring front porches back, maybe I'll go with it. What we need is a non-discriminatory policy that lets the model work. We agree on a lot of the goals. We do want good things to happen in Houston. We disagree on who's the better entity to bring it to us. The marketplace, the free market we have here is going to get us there a lot quicker than some central planning scheme. My family has a piece of property at the corner of Westheimer and Post Oak. Nothing fears us more than the city telling us we're one of 10 zones where they're going to come and fix us. Thank you very much, but we can decide for ourselves our own land use and our own best market response to consumer demand. He mentions the police power. That's what zoning ordinances and other types of meddlesome onerous ordinances are based on. And those are the things we have happily avoided till now. The permit process in Houston has recently been badly politicized because of one troubled project. And we are in sort of an informal period of time here where we do sort of have a problem. But if you think of the freedom of speech and how important it is to our society, you got to remember that occasionally you have to put up with a bad press story. In Houston, we have this wonderful market for land development. Occasionally, we have to put up with a bad event. But it's not worth throwing out our free market, just as it wouldn't be worth throwing out our free press because we don't like some articles in the newspaper. So we need to stick to the system that has brought us to this point, and we do not need to have an overreaction to recent events. The city is doing a good job of working this particularly troublesome issue, and we just want to make sure that we don't overreact to it.
All right, if anybody has any questions, if you don't mind starting to line up at the microphone. And just go right ahead.
I have two questions, actually. One's a real quickie. Mr. Brown, you mentioned the high cost of transportation. Could you just say what that is? And then I have a more complicated
Well, let's see.